When I moved to China, I was surprised to see that most people were wearing shirts with words written in English. But I soon found out that many of them had no idea what the shirts said, while I had broken the code. Because I was from America, my eyes were opened to what others considered a mystery. We were looking at the same thing, but their eyes were blind to the words, while I could see clearly. Similarly, when I found God, my eyes were opened, and I could see God all around me. While some were blind to God, I could see evidence of God everywhere, because I had broken the code. Some say Christians are crazy to believe in an invisible God, but God is not as invisible as people think. That is, God is invisible, but at the same time, he can still be seen. The Bible says his invisible attributes are clearly seen, being understood by the things that are made. While God is invisible, he has given us plenty of evidence that he exists. Imagine that a man finds a watch on a beach. As he is looking at the watch, a woman who saw him pick it up approaches him and asks, "Who left the watch?" The man replies, "I think it evolved from nothing." As the woman smirks, the man replies, "There are no footprints around and no evidence of a maker." To this, the woman replies, "The watch itself is the evidence." That's what God is saying. If you were walking in the woods and saw a house, you would conclude it had a builder, since every house is built by someone. But he who built all things is God. In Hebrews 3:4, God is asking us to use common sense. God is telling us that this earth, human life, the animals, the laws of nature, and everything we see are evidence that God is alive. And like the shirts in China, many are blind to this simple truth. While some say they cannot believe in an invisible God, they seem to have no problem believing in many other invisible things, like sound waves, ultraviolet light, wind, emotions, laws of gravity, and so on. The reason we believe in these things is not that we see them, but because we see evidence of them. While some say there is no evidence of God, that is not true. Just as the watch itself is the evidence that it had a maker, the world itself is evidence of God. The two conflicting theories of how the earth got here leave us with only two options. One theory says that a singularity appeared from nothing, exploded, and created the universe. It says the universe brought itself into existence from nothing. There is no science to support this. Every honest scientist admits that the foundation of this theory is based on a miracle which must be believed by faith, no different than religion. Both theories must be taken on some level of faith. The question is, which theory is more practical? That God created the universe, or that the universe created itself from nothing? Sadly, many accept an impossible theory in order to escape God. Some refuse to believe in God because they cannot understand everything about God. But the incomprehensible nature of God actually supports the idea that God made the universe. Think about it. This universe is so vast that our minds cannot even begin to understand the earth, life, or the human body, let alone time and space, which are endless. Doctors are baffled by disease. Mysteries lie beneath the ocean. Space goes into eternity. God asks in the book of Job, "Have the gates of death been revealed to you? Have you comprehended the breadth of the earth?" If we cannot even comprehend the earth, how can we expect to understand the God who made the universe? While some use the fact that we cannot understand God as proof he does not exist, the truth is, if we could understand God, he would not be a God, but a man. The fact that the universe is infinite and incomprehensible makes an incomprehensible God the only rational explanation for the universe. Logic and reason compel us to admit that the universe did not create itself from nothing. Something bigger, more intelligent, and more powerful had to create the earth. Those who say that they can believe in gravity because they see the evidence of it, but cannot believe in God because they do not see the evidence of God, are like the Chinese people wearing shirts with English words. The words are right there in front of their eyes, and they see them, but they cannot really see or discern them. Jesus says of some, "Seeing you will see and not perceive," later asking, "Having eyes, do you not see?" God has given evidence, but some cannot see it because they do not have spiritual eyes of faith. The Bible gives us the answer to this problem. The Bible says to anoint your eyes with eye salve that you may see. This is not speaking of literally adding a moisturizing solution to your eyes, but getting a spiritual eye procedure. While God is invisible, He has given plenty of evidence that He exists. But we must take a leap of faith. God does not want us to believe in Him with blind faith, but with reasonable faith. He is saying, "Come now and let us reason together." He is saying, look at the two alternatives and make a reasonable decision. One theory says everything came from nothing, exploding into existence, and perfectly forming everything from flowers to bees to human life all by itself. It claims that you are nothing more than an educated animal. The other theory says the universe was created by someone bigger, more intelligent, and more powerful, called God. God is saying, I have given you enough evidence in the universe, in the laws of nature, in the intricate design of the human body, and in the world all around you for you to make a rational choice. Now it's time for you to take a step of faith and come to me. Once we take the first step in faith and say, Lord, I believe, help my unbelief, then God will begin to open our eyes. Once we accept the evidence of God that we can see, God will begin to reveal the mysteries of faith that we cannot see, and we will begin to understand eternal things, just as so many others have experienced. But we must accept the evidence and take a step in faith. Just because you cannot see God does not mean He is not real. Like the wind, God is invisible, but there is enough evidence to see the invisible God when we look through the eyes of faith. The Bible says that faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Faith provides the evidence, or the proof. Once I looked at the evidence and saw that God must be real, I gave my life to Him, and He opened my eyes. He changed my nature, and now I can see God in everything. All around me, I see evidence of God, in the same way that I can naturally see the English words on all the shirts in China, while most people are blind to these words. When I accepted God by faith, I was given eyes to see in ways that I never saw before. I began to see God all around me, while others were blind to Him. Since I experienced God, I have the evidence. Now that I have seen God, no one could ever convince me that He is not real. You too can have the same assurance if you will simply take a leap of faith. What are you waiting for?